Make sure you don't miss a thing. Go to starzology.com/newsletter and sign up. Welcome to the Starzology Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Alison Price, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Arwynne O'Neill.
Hello, Alison. It's great to be here.
So nice to have you once more. So this time we're going to be talking about your astrology business review.
Yeah.
So what I'll explain a bit more later, but what I'm talking about is that if you are an aspiring astrologer or you're running a small astrology business or whatever you're doing with your astrology practice, it's always a good idea to look back over the year. And in this case, we're looking back over 2025 to see how things went, what things were done, and how maybe you could even have done things better.
Right.
So, of course, everybody's business is different. Not every astrologer does everything. You're a research astrologer. I do readings, this and that. We both podcast. So there are just a few things that I just wanted to kind of talk about that are related to giving a review about how we as aspiring astrologers have experienced this year.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And I will link to the blog post article about this as well, where I'm actually talking about specifically why we want to look back and how good it is. And I'm calling it a reflection.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the first things I like to consider is for myself or whoever it is what was our best transit for the year? Now, personally, I'll tell you right now, personally, my best transit this year has been Uranus going through my 11th house because it's helped grow this group. It's helped grow our community. It's Uranus is the planet that rules astrology and so on. So even though Uranus actually entered my 11th house last year, the year before this one, it has now fully in there and is still going to be there for like another 5 years. But it's one of those transits that's been there and it's been prominent for me.
Yeah.
So as an astrology practitioner, I'm kind of leaning into that because that's where Uranus is for me. And I felt that this was the most prominent transit I've had this year.
That's great.
Now, next year is going to be entirely different because there's things coming up that are going to change everything.
Right.
But that's how I felt about it. And if you are an astrologer, I would urge you to look and see which is the most prominent transit you've had. It doesn't have to be by house, but typically it would be one of the heavy hitting planets, Jupiter outwards, and how they would have affected you and your astrology practice or informed what you're spending your time doing and where the energy is being expressed.
Yeah.
And for me, it has been expressed through this 11th house group thing of the newsletter, the podcast, and continuing to develop it.
Yeah, and to expand your community, your community reach.
Well, we try, right? And also finding that the people who are within the group, within the, dare I say, the inner circle, particularly those people on the newsletter list, are the ones who actually I can reach and they understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, people come and go, they think, oh, astrology, they pop in and it's not always for them.
Right.
So but in time, you actually build a community of readers who, I'll find your message.
Yeah.
What am I saying? Digestible.
It resonates with them.
It resonates with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas, although it's what would we call it, a curated list at this stage, it certainly has developed this year from what it was previously when it was just a lot more randomized.
Right.
Now there's a lot more focus to my mailing list.
Yeah.
And I've also been running a unopened where you get purged if you're not opening your last 5 emails, you actually get dropped off so that it's not for them. They're not opening and we don't need to waste our time.
Absolutely. That's clever.
So it's quite a tricky thing. And that took me a while to sort out. But anyway, so what's actually happening is that the list and the community is becoming tighter and people who are writing back to me and commenting are hearing my message and have relevant questions about what it is we're discussing. So that's a good thing. Yeah,
definitely.
So if we perhaps considered your chart as what would you say perhaps would have been your strongest transit going through this year or as astrological event even?
I believe I had a Chiron return earlier this year.
Right.
And that's a long-lasting transit. So I think the, with the whatever orbs we use, I think that was probably off and on most of the year, mostly early this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is going on in which house for you?
That's the 6th house.
Yeah. So it's to do with your
work,
health,
day-to-day life, habits, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And changing things up in how you're actually living on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. And of course, we all know, it's one of those astrological sort of markers, like the Saturn return happens around age 30 and the Chiron returns happen around age 50.
Yeah.
So of course, as women, we know what happens around that age. So obviously that necessitates, however it happens for you, it's different for everyone. It always does necessitate, I think, just a little bit of, reshuffling of like, your metabolism's changing a little bit.
Yes.
And, was it a sort of
systems are changing?
Doing the same thing is getting, the returns are less than you'd, seen in the last few years. And it's like, okay, well, am I going to redouble my efforts or am I just going to accept that this is the new normal,
Yes.
And that's a constant. I wouldn't say struggle, but
it's a change.
And
isn't
I'm
it?
such a creature of habit too. So it's like, doing the same thing over and over isn't going to work anymore. God. So,
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, even health-wise, I see you going from strength to strength physically and.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Thank you. I appreciate that for sure. But it is one of the things where I've noticed, like, okay, so doing the same thing that I've been doing that was working super well for the last 5 years,
right.
Is working a little bit less well now. And just, having to kind of go, okay, well, how much more effort am I willing to put in for the diminishing return of what I can expect to, have as a result. And obviously there are women who are bodybuilders at age 60 and who, well into even their 70s look in amazing. Of course, there's an incredible amount of time and energy and effort that goes into that. It's not,
it doesn't
looking amazing at 20 or 30 is, genetics. And then if you're looking amazing at 60 or 70, that is a full-time job. So,
but I do think that if you, if your health house is being focused, it's whatever your health is at this point, the ideal would be to keep it going for the next 30 years.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And not that I've got health issue or sixth house things going on, but I actually have dumbbells arriving from Amazon because of the weight, not necessarily the pumping iron, but the weight training to re-strengthen joints and so on.
Keeping bones strong. Yeah, super important.
Which is something I would never have considered 5 years ago or 20 years, never.
Yeah.
So all of these shifts come through and so whilst you go through these Chiron returns, there is a bit of time there. There's a bit of a time lag for you to get your head around what's happening as well. And this is why some of these transits are more longer lasting. And of course, Chiron will remain even in your sixth house, even once it's past that return, to reinforce your health and your daily activities and what you're spending your day doing.
For sure. And of course, since it is a return, that is where my natal Chiron is. So that's, But I dumped a bunch of money into my dental work this year too. I forgot about that.
And I know you've had some,
adornments. Yes, I did.
And I haven't seen your hair look this. I don't know. It's never looked so big. It's just keeps on coming.
Thank you. Yes.
It keeps on coming.
I love to have my big hair. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
that's
definitely.
I forgot about that. I did got a couple of big tattoos.
Yes, it's spectacular.
Yeah, thank you.
Designed by yourself?
Well, no, but I did research it very carefully and found an artist I loved on Instagram.
Okay.
And literally followed him for 2 years, liking everything that he did. And then finally he had one design that, really, really good tattoo artists, will have a certain style. And within that, they'll be willing to kind of tailor it to you. But a lot of them will put up a specific design and say, okay, this is available. This means if you claim this design, no one else can have this exact design. And so finally I saw one, I was like, I love that one. So,
and this is, could we say this was a Chiron return tattoo thing? Because it's not that you've got a load of tattoos,
No, these were my first.
Oh,
yeah, these were my first. So I got two matching ones on both arms and one matching one on each arm, rather. And I went with, a very, really graphic-y kind of Japanese floral style, and one peony, which is my Scorpio rising, and one chrysanthemum, which is the Virgo. So
it's amazing. And this all came about as in your Chiron return year, which is something
I've always wanted, ever since the 90s, wanted tattoos. And I went through a long period of researching them a long time ago and then fell out of thinking about it for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's definitely a shift in your what you've been able to achieve, right?
Yeah, that because if my Chiron is in Aries, that is another
Right.
thing too. Because so that's the self. That's how, your identity. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's super interesting. Yeah. So having being aware of what the most prominent transit occurred in the year, and there would have been others. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not the only ones, but in this reflection, what I'm talking about, it's a good idea to say, well, what was the bigger one, the overarching transit that continued and probably is going to continue even into next year because it's still in position.
Yeah.
So that's one of the very good things to look at when you're looking at these year-end reviews.
For sure. And Uranus and Neptune and Pluto will be in some, house for everybody. So it's always good to look at where those are. Or
absolutely, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Another way I like to break down the annual review is to look at the seasons. So we've got the 4 seasons, and I'm talking about the solar seasons. So we start off basically with winter, which is Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, and this would have begun December 21, 2024. That's really when the solar season started.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of this year, one thing that I did do was I purged a lot of the stuff off my website. I had a total clean out. It was becoming so huge and cumbersome. My providers even said, this is monstrous. You've got to trim it back. Yeah. So I went back and I'd got horoscopes written for 2018. I got rid of them. No one's ever going to look at those again. I also had eclipse pieces for 10 years ago because my website's been going since 2002. So we're looking at that's 23 years of my opinion going in there. And I had a massive clean out during the winter season. So that's one thing of I want to call it purging, really, but I got rid of quite a lot of stuff there. And then I didn't really have a main business project during the spring this year. And then also, to be honest, also in the summer, it really not really much was going on. I did do a couple of talks, but I didn't have a particular project this year because there was just so many other things going on. Although I did spend some time at a writing retreat in Whistler for 3 days, where I went there to bring some clarity to thought, which was fantastic. And we've even said we'll be planning our next year's one as well. Nice. So that went down in the summer. And during that September as well, which is still technically the summertime there, I actually did this social media detox.
Yeah.
So I was off Instagram and Facebook, and I offloaded them off my things. And there were only real 2 that I had to start with. And for a whole of September, I didn't go there and I didn't know what was going on and so on. And then in October, I brought them back, and I've probably been to Instagram 2 or 3 times since. And Facebook probably once. Yeah. And I think it's just something I just don't seem to be doing anymore. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll cycle back round to it, but I just feel it's just not a place where I want to spend my energy.
Yeah.
So I was able to put that through in the summer.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, it's
the thing of diminishing returns too, right? It's like, do I want to keep plugging away at this? How much more effort will it take to get anything out of this? Because some people do it. Some people, their whole business model is advertising themselves on Instagram somehow.
Yes, but what I found
how
was
much more effort do you need to put in? And it's way too much.
If we're putting a podcast out once a week, technically I would have 4 Instagram posts each month. But basically, once you posted it, 6 hours later, it's long gone.
Yeah.
And it just didn't seem to, it clearly hasn't made any difference.
Yeah.
And so I just, it's on the back burner. I may at some point come around back to it. But at the moment, whereas previously I was feverishly, which is the word, trying to do my best with reels and this and that. And I just kind of cut that out. And that was a summer project that came, and I was unsure when I started if I could even do it.
Yeah.
Because it was suggested from some book I was reading about dopamine hits. And I thought, this is how the brain works. So anyway.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then for the autumn of this year, which is now, we're talking about Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. I was very busy with family stuff. My daughter got married. That takes up a huge amount of time. Right? You cannot believe it. And effort and energy. And that was really what the autumn period has been for me. So as we're now moving towards, that's the final season, because the winter will then begin again on December 21st for the next year. Yeah.
Amazing.
So another way of looking at the astrological business review is to look at the people in your life. And this is what this main blog post is about. And it's the people that you're because no matter what job you have or what car you drive or what clothes you wear, it's your relationship with people that is the core of the human existence, that we have our people and so on. And so I've just got some ideas that I'd just like to share about, and I've got this handy dandy diagram about these circles and where people fit in your life, and how the closer they are to the center, if you look at the blog post, the red dot in the center, which is you, the closer they are, the more important they are. And then we've got different people moving out, and we're just going to chat about it a little bit astrologically. I love it. So what I'm actually saying is that you are in the center of your own life. Clearly you are, right? So you're number one. And in this way, you actually have to look after yourself before you can look after others.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like this business of when you're on an aeroplane and the oxygen masks come down and they say, put yours on first and then turn to help somebody else. Yeah. So you have to look after yourself.
Absolutely.
So this is
if you can't breathe, you won't be able to help anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is really it, and looking after yourself. I'd like to say that you've got to eat well, you've got to exercise, and read a good book. For heaven's sake,
get some decent sleep and
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then our second circle out is people who live in your home and they are under your roof. Mm-hmm. So they may not be blood relatives, but typically they would be. And anyone in that area, you are going to be attending to them too, looking after them, caring for them, cooking for them, and so on. And these are all your fourth house people. So it's people under your roof, which is fourth house. And any planets you have in your fourth house are likely to show up here. Those people are likely to be important to you, or transits through that fourth house would make that effect as well.
Does that include roommates, do you think? Or was that?
Yes, if they're under your roof.
Yeah, cool.
That's the thing.
Yeah, we know a lot of people with roommates.
With roommates, and you're sharing a roof. Yeah. That's the fourth house stuff,
Cool.
So, and then after that, the thing is close family, which is people who are family who live down the road. I've got one daughter lives here 10 kilometers away. My other kids are in Toronto, but I speak to them weekly, monthly, frequently, twice a week, whatever it is. And these are still fourth house people, but they're not under my roof.
Yeah.
So the difference there is that if they're under your roof, you actually have to kind of do something. If they sprain an ankle, you've got to attend.
Right.
Whereas if something happened to my close family, even though they're further away, you wouldn't necessarily, or in your case with your mom further away,
you're not just send a tear emoji or something. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
And there's a subtlety there. But again, these are also fourth house because it's definitely family at this stage.
Yeah.
So anything family related would come through there. And then the next ring out would be your friends. These are the people you hang out with.
Yeah.
Now, this is 11th house. And I'm saying here that if you have a friend, you're fortunate indeed. And if you can count your friends on one hand, you are very fortunate. Mm-hmm. So it's not always easy these days for people to make friends. There's the kind of a loneliness epidemic going on.
True.
And this is where you and I are now in the 11th house here.
Yeah.
Friends. And we know enough about each other. And everyone else is an acquaintance. Yeah. So then we do get to the acquaintances, which is what I'm saying. There's Bob and Margaret. These are just people you happen to know. Again, it's 11th house because there are other people, and they're acquaintances, which are 11th house, but they're not really friends. So in this group, I have people like the concierge downstairs. I know his name. We nod and say good morning,
but he's not in your phone.
No.
Yeah.
No, or maybe even my hairdresser at this stage and the manicurist. I know their name, but I really don't. So these are acquaintances, and you can then, if you have a day job, this will then be people you're working with too.
Yes. I was wondering where coworkers fit in.
Yeah, that would definitely fit in that in the 6th house too. But acquaintances, if you consider them acquaintances, or I know a guy, it tends to be 11th house. Yeah. And so on this reflection, what's been going on with your 11th house, you would consider that. And as I just said, I've got this Uranus sitting there, creating this energy flow as well. And then finally, we've got your clients, if you're a practicing astrologer. So your clients will be in the 7th house. These are your clients. And technically, an astrological client is someone you'd never met before or even heard of until they said, hey, can I get a reading?
Okay.
So these are business or clients.
Organic customers. Or
so they listen to our podcast and then they'd message me, say, "Hey, Alison, I want a reading." And this is 7th house people.
Or they were Googling dispositor tree and you were the first that came up and they said, "That's the gal for me."
Hopefully. And honestly, this year, most people have said to me, they heard the podcast and they heard us chatting. And they felt they knew me. And I thought,
wonderful.
Which you don't get perhaps sometimes with the written word. Yeah. So I think the idea is that the people in your lives are more important than the stuff in your life. And that's really what I'm trying to say at this point.
Yeah. Experiences over possessions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
So moving on with our Astro Business review of you being a aspiring astrologer with us. Micro astrology business. I got some ideas also about Astro Business finances.
Okay.
So this is so to me, I like to keep it very simple. You've got income and you've got expenditure. So the income is stuff that comes through that would tend to be, if you're running an astrology business, 11th house income. It can be 2nd house as well. And this is any money you earn from sales, sponsors, clients, customers, or donations you receive from others. Sometimes they send me a PayPal, what have you. And any income that comes through that astrology, through your astrology, is technically an 11th house income.
Yeah.
And of course, taxes are due on that. But anyway. And then expenditure is, of course, there are still expenditures for running an astrology business, as we all know.
Yeah.
You've got your website hosting, we've got our podcast hosting, we've got the internet, the computer, the replacement iPad, and I had to do, and the pencil and the cable. I had to buy a new cable.
Your solar fire software.
And on it goes. And our all of those are all expenses. They would going to an astrology conference or even having to travel to go and give a talk. You've got to put your travel expenses in.
Yeah.
So even as a micro astrology or a nano astrology person, you've got your income and you've also got your expenditure.
Yeah, and working from home, that would also include your internet service provider and all that.
And a portion of your room. It depends on where you live, what the tax details are.
Yeah.
But it's you've got these expenses, you've got these incomes, but if you're not taking money, you don't have any of this, right?
Yeah.
And
it would be in the 2nd house. The income would be in the 2nd house if you were actually employed as an astrologer, like. Right?
If you were working for astro.com or
if you had you did the Vogue magazine's weekly, monthly horoscope in the back of the magazine.
Exactly. So if you were writing, things like that. Yeah. So having got a handle on that, so you've got money coming in, money going out, and hopefully you've got more coming in than what's going out. But if we look at the actual personal finances that as you as an individual have, and your wealth in general, that comes into your 2nd house.
Right.
What is your net worth? And we have, net worth, and what's the other one? Yeah, there's 2 nets. It's net worth and
oh no.
Yeah, I can't remember the word at the moment. It'll come to me.
Okay.
But anyway, so I'm a huge fan of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if you've read it.
I've heard of it. I've not read it.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
It's pretty ancient now. It must have been written 20 years ago. But it boils down to, the whole book boils down to this one statement, that assets feed you and liabilities eat you.
Right.
So your assets are what's coming in from your contributions and so on, and your liabilities are what you have to pay out for rent and so on and all the rest of it.
Sure.
And there's just 2 buckets. It doesn't have to be complicated. That's really what I want to say here. And so your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities, and hopefully you've got one number. And I like to do this on December 31st. I do what's my assets, what my life, and I've got one number for the year. I don't do complicated accounting in my astrology business. I keep it simple. We've got the bucket in and the bucket out.
Wow.
I know. And sometimes the bucket feels like it's just got a hole in it,
Right.
But that's how you would look at it. So income coming in and expenditures going out. That is something that you want to put in your reflection so that you can say, how was 2025? And you spent $12,000, but you earned $13,000. Therefore, you're $1,000 ahead of the game.
Yeah.
You will have one master number at the end of the year if you've done all your paperwork.
Yeah. And if you're just getting started and you're at the stage of investing in yourself, and you're not you don't have a lot of paying clients yet, like that is okay. Everyone goes through that stage, right?
Oh, yeah.
If you're, you're paying to go to a conference, you're paying for your
education,
your all this stuff. Yeah, exactly.
All
That's
the
investing in yourself.
Thousands. When I look back, thousands are invested in astrology over the years.
And I mean, obviously, this will depend on what the laws are wherever you live, tax wise. But if you're incorporated or if you're sole proprietorship, if you've set yourself up as a business, of course you can write off all of those expenses. So that's great. Even if you are,
you can run out to the loss for 3 years in Canada.
Right.
So
yeah.
But and sometimes it's very close. It's very, very close. Yeah. So that's another thing that could be considered and put into your end of year review. It doesn't have to be complicated. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Try and keep it simple.
Yeah.
And then the third and final thing that I'd like to discuss here is actually about your personal development as an astrologer, because you don't want to just stay at the same level of knowledge between now and the next 30 years in your practice. You want to develop too. Mm-hmm. And for this, we want to be actually looking at the planets in your chart. So what I'm suggesting here is that the sun is representation, obviously, of your identity and may be considered in your personal development. Because many years are often just repeats of the year before, and even sometimes decades can be repeats of the year before. But any individual drive for personal development is likely to come through your sun's placement.
Right. And now, are we looking just at the natal chart, or are we looking at the solar return chart? Are we looking at progressions and transits?
Well, I'm looking at the natal chart and transits to it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I suppose you could. But your placement will still be saying, natal sun, I've got this drive, I've got this drive.
So you're looking at things that are affecting your actual natal chart.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
So that will be your individual drive. And then the moon is actually the planet that rules reflection anyway. So this is a brilliant planet to, when you're considering your end of year reflection. And with the moon, you want to be looking at your habits in a good way. That what you were practicing previously when January started, are you still doing that now?
Right.
And what has shifted or changed in your daily habits? Because that is what the moon is ruling.
Yeah.
And additionally, if you've got some bad habits you want to get rid of, it's through the moon that this occurs.
Right. There may also be some hard transits to the moon that are affecting your ability to function and to do what you want to do, and to, things that are, emotional encumbrances or things that are holding you back. Yes. And those could be seen as afflicted transit.
Preconceived ideas that need to be let go of.
Right. Or even just family circumstances. I mean, a parent falls ill and you're having to take care of them, or something with your health. And those things could also be seen as,
having to make adjustments. Yes.
Yeah.
But that would come through your moon placement. So that's, my thoughts here is that if you were just doing a knee-jerk reaction back in January about something, are you still doing it in December? And it's awareness. And this is why we do the reflection, to say, am I still doing that? Is that the right thing to do? I'm going to this group. Is it working for me? Or I'm offering this, that, and the other. Is it working for me in my business? Or I don't really like doing the couples counseling. Should I go back to doing one-on-ones and these kind of things? That's what we're trying to get to.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I actually have a very prime example of that earlier. I talked about it earlier in the year when I switched my service providers, because I had been with Squarespace for, I think, a year. I think I had signed up for 2 years. Maybe it was 2 years. I can't remember. But I had been with Wix before that, and I did not like that very much. It wasn't working out for me. Switched over to Squarespace, had to move all of my stuff manually, and that was a nightmare. And then I was like, okay, I'm stuck here. But I had paid so much for this introductory thing. And then when the prices were going to go up, I was like, no, I can't. And I researched it. And now I'm much, much happier on Substack and not paying a monthly fee, monthly or yearly fee at all.
So since the beginning of 2025, you have had to make adjustments to what was just, and if we're not paying attention, we just stick with it, don't we?
Yeah.
Because it's easier.
It's easier to just not change.
Yes.
But like when you see like all this money going out for something that is not bringing money in at all, it's a side hustle at best.
Yes.
But now
you've got your Substack is great. This is for Miss Pink we're talking about.
MissPink.net. And now I have more subscribers. and it's easier.
You're able to reach more people.
Yeah.
And you're reaching people who actually want to read your stuff. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah. And all of my new subscribers mostly have come through organically through Substack. It's been not from someone sharing it, but just actually from people finding me on Substack.
And liking your work and then they subscribe. You see, this is the difference.
Yeah.
Whereas previously, maybe at the beginning of the year, you were just yelling into the void, as we do. We do.
Paying to do so. Exactly.
Paying for the pleasure.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to thank ChatGPT for recommending Substack.
Well,
honestly, because,
I tell you, where would we be
you
without?
Also did, but I mean, I went to ChatGPT and I asked, okay, here are all my factors. Give me like the best, scenario of how little I can spend and still get what I want. And it was like, happy to, lay out a table of different pros and cons, and there's a lot of manual work to be involved, but not as much as I thought.
Yeah, not easy to do, but it's like, well, we're still stuck with the same bank. I've been with the same bank for 10 years, and the thought of moving is you just can't do it, right? Yeah. So if we move on to Mercury, this is now, of course, your thoughts and words. So here I'm thinking in your year-end reflection, Mercury could suggest which books you've been reading, journals you've been writing, or more generally, it may show just how much time you've carved out to keep in touch with other people.
I love that.
You look back and you say, did I read a book this year? Because I've got to tell you, I've had years when I haven't read a book at all. But this particular year, I've probably read 8 books, which is a lot for me.
That's awesome.
And it's maybe nothing compared to some people, but I try to engage that and try to improve what I'm thinking about, my information and so on. So, so that would be Mercury. If you find you're an avid reader, perhaps you are, Arwynne. I'm not.
An incredibly avid reader, but if I had to read books on paper in physical form, there would be a lot less.
Yes,
let me put it that way.
Reading
audiobooks, and I'm getting them from
Libby.
From the Libby app, which is they're free.
I've discovered it.
Oh my God, it's a game changer. I've been using that for over a decade.
Wow.
And as soon as I discovered that, it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
wow.
It's brilliant. But you're consuming information and reading,
and mostly nonfiction. But I'm always reading. Like I've got 1 or 2 books like in my collection on Libby at all times.
On your shelf, yeah. Me too. I also I only read.
I listen to them on my, when I'm walking, when I'm out, doing my errands, when I'm exercising, when I'm falling asleep at night, and
it's amazing.
Always.
We live in a great time, don't we? We really do. We really do. Yeah. So that would be your Mercury, thoughts and words. And next we would look at Venus. So straight up, I'm going to talk about investments. We know it's love, but we're talking investments here.
Also art. We can talk about art.
We can talk about art. Yeah. Okay. But Venus is likely to represent the things that you invested in this year. Yeah. And it could be both time and money, and definitely any major purchases you made. And clearly, Venus will also suggest your love life and marriage situation.
Yeah.
Major investments really do come through Venus. I did not make a major investment this year. I think I've had 4 months no spend month. I'm actually now on no spend November.
Wow.
I did it, I think February, May. It was every it was once per season I had a no spend month, and that meant I couldn't go online to Amazon and just buy some more stuff.
Right.
I couldn't go onto Zara and buy a new scarf. I couldn't go to H&M and get a pair of socks I didn't need.
Right. Just the essentials, groceries.
And I bought food.
Yeah.
And my transport. But I didn't buy stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling it now because we're 3 weeks into November, and I'm at Amazon.
You want that scarf now?
It's the Black Friday sales are coming, and there's a particular printer I want, the Canon IV2, which prints little things. You stick them in your bookie, and I'm thinking,
nice.
I don't need it, but had I not been on No Spend November, I would have just clicked it at $99 and thought I got a deal.
Yeah.
But so I'm benefiting. I would like to say I'm benefiting financially, Venus-wise.
Because there are things that you wanted probably in those months and you've just forgotten about. The printer you're still thinking about, which means it's probably a good thing to buy. But there's all these things that you probably got for a moment. Oh, can't.
I haven't had a haircut this month. I haven't been for a manicure. And normally I would be. Yeah. And I'm thinking, it's No Spend November. And I can't believe I'm actually sticking with it.
That's awesome.
And it amazes me that when I get to the end of the month that I haven't got $500 of unaccounted for junk coming in the door, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't always get it right, I got to tell you. I don't. But Venus would be the planet that would go on that. And you were saying about art.
Yeah. I mean, because we are both artists.
Yes.
We both are, thriving in creative modes of expression. And we're always, maybe not always, but, finding ways to express ourselves artistically.
Yeah. I went to see Banksy this year, but that was not one of my no-spend months.
Yeah, right. Totally. Yeah, finding, either going out and appreciating art and, absorbing performances.
Supporting
local art, whether that's a performance or whether that's a gallery
artworks,
or play or whatever, or actually creating art. And
well, this is it. I mean, you've been creating art and you've been passing it along, or it's hanging on my wall.
Yeah.
And away at Whistler, I had picked up the art from this artist who did the Mountains of Whistler, which is a art print there. I can't remember her name at the moment, but that was clearly in a not one of my no-spend months, but definitely.
Yeah.
But it's adding value, which is Venus, to our lives with the art that we've got, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you happen to, as you do, make, publish your own books, publish your own art things, and make them available on, say, Redbubble or
let's talk about calendars.
Maybe, I don't know exactly when this podcast is going to be going out, but
December 14th.
December 14th, my calendar might still be available.
Absolutely.
Yeah, check the link below.
And it's a calendar
it's a calendar of badass goddesses. It's,
original
art. I did all of my my Inktober 31 prompts. They were all different goddesses or mythological female creatures. We've got some female demons in there and some weird female creatures from various mythologies around the world. Yeah, so I picked my favorite 12, and I've got a beautiful 9x12 printed wall calendar that is spiral bound and will look wonderful hanging in your kitchen, bedroom, entryway, or what have you. Yeah.
Support Arwynne. And it's art, it's Venus, and that's where that comes from, because it's physical art you can touch. Yeah. And you definitely triggered your Venus this year. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think you do. Well, I do. I mean, we both do, because we're artists, aren't we? Which is kind of interesting as well.
It is.
It is.
Sure.
Yeah.
But as we know, it's sometimes harder and harder, to actually be motivated to do that.
It is. It is to get it together. Yeah. But this would be how Venus would be expressed if you did that sort of thing, or you created some beautiful something or other, or you, whatever it is you did, your sketchbooks or what have you. That would be a Venus thing.
Totally.
And maybe you created, I don't know, I redid my banner for Starzology this last week because it had been there for 10 years and the time had come. I wasn't planning to. I just did it. It just came.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm not sure if I like it, but we're living with it for a little bit and then we'll see how we do.
That's another thing with changing. Oh my gosh. Changing service providers or blog hosting things. It's like, oh, I need a banner for this. Oh my gosh. No, I need a headshot. Okay. Well, which one am I going to use? Like, oh my gosh. Do I want to take a picture today or do I want to wait until I wash my hair? Or,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all Venus. That is all Venus.
Exactly.
How we present.
You need a new favicon. It needs to be 250 by 250 now. Mine's like tiny. It doesn't, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all of these things, but it's all creative artwork. Yeah. So that is all Venus stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then if we look at Mars, so Mars, we love our Mars. So when the reflection, Mars is, what did you do this year? What you did. Mars is the action planet in your chart. It's likely to show where you've actually got off the couch, as we like to say, and gone and done something. And back this year when Mars was stimulated by a transit or progression are the times when you were perhaps keener to compete or go for gold in some area of your life.
Right. Yeah.
And I think we've spoken before that you and I have quite mild Marses in our charts. I'm thinking, I can't think of when I actually felt the need to get off the couch and go do something here. I'm more of a steady burn than let me go and do that.
Right.
I'm continuously chunking stuff out because it's the Virgo. It's kind of,
Yeah. More consistent than
with one big
energy.
One big burn.
Yeah. And of course I've got Mars and Taurus, which I like to think is the Ferdinand the bull.
Yes.
The bull who would rather smell the flowers than fight in the ring. Or
But the times when you did get off the couch, it was definitely with your burlesque.
I get off the couch constantly.
You went into the public. You went on stage.
I did.
Whoa.
Yes.
Was it twice this year?
It was, yeah, actually, no, not in the spring. It was the last one I had done was in last December.
Okay.
And then there was a gap in the spring because just a venue change. And the lady I do them with, Melody Mangler, shout out, didn't have a venue for the spring performance, which she usually does. But we were back with a vengeance in October, and that was a 2-night.
And you actively got on board. You went up there. You did your you strutted your stuff.
Practiced, went to classes every day, every week, and then practiced as much as possible and broke a sweat.
Engaged your Mars. You see, that's what you did do, wasn't it? You really did get off the couch to go and do that. You could have just said, "No, I'm not going to do it," and stayed on the couch.
Yep. Every once in a while, I think, do I really want to? It's hard, and you got to get choreography down. But of course, I always want to do it.
Amazing.
And then, of course, the working out thing. Yes, which is, I just do it. I just continue to do it.
You just continue to do it. Yeah. So you definitely have engaged your Mars this year. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Very interesting. Yeah. Next, if we move on to and look at Jupiter, which is the planet of great expectations. So, Jupiter. In the end of your review, Jupiter will be the planet that shows where growth has occurred. The greater benefic indicates times when you had a vision and when you raised your eyes to the horizon and speculated about what was over the mountains to wonder if dragons be there.
Nice. And we love Jupiter because it spends 1 year in each sign.
Yes.
It takes 12 years to go around the entire zodiac, which makes it very convenient for us to look at it and say, oh, okay, this year Jupiter was in my whatever house.
9th house.
For me? Amazing.
9th.
Amazing.
And you've done a bit of traveling. I know you went to Chicago and
a year ago. This actually right now, a year ago.
Oh, was that a year ago? It seemed like yesterday.
I know, it does, doesn't it? But that was a wonderful trip. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the start of it. And you've done a couple of trips locally around here.
Yes.
A lot more than normal, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
As Jupiter has gone through your 9th house, so that's kind of interesting.
And learning a lot too. That being in a different job for a while and then looking for work and then studying different industries and stuff, doing a lot of research and
having to expand your knowledge as well. And also I think too, because it was this year, wasn't it, that you got onto Substack where growth is occurring for you now.
Right. Yes.
Let's look at it that way. Yeah. And you're still doing the same output that you did for the last 3 years, but suddenly growth is occurring for you as other people in the adult space are
discovering.
Discovering and reading your stuff, and benefiting from it, which is a great thing. Yeah. And then Saturn. So Saturn is our lovely planet of personal boundaries. So I'm saying our old friend Saturn, if triggered by transit or progression, can be the planet that stops you in your tracks to authentically stonewall you. If you have faced severe restrictions or hardships somehow this year, it is possible that the ringed planet Saturn was somehow involved. Now, there are years where you just can't get things done. And for whatever reason, maybe you've got a sick child or you've got a sick parent and you have to attend and give up part of your life to attend to other people. You get stonewalled and you must do your due diligence, do your duty, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that can very frequently be the way Saturn expresses itself.
For sure.
Or if you're trying to climb the corporate ladder in some way.
And you're being thwarted by something.
And they said, well, you've got to go and do this little course here and you haven't got the Microsoft XYZ and where's your so-and-so and you haven't done your due diligence on the EDI training.
Right. Or you just have a boss that you feel is out to get you and it's just what's the word? Hampering your growth and
blocking you.
You have to think, well, do I
want
to make a lateral move to get out from under this person? And is that going to be a better path forward?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you've got all these things. And if your Saturn was triggered this year, by multiple ways, you will find that just come through as a personal boundaries have been thwarted.
Yeah.
And maybe it did you good to stay at home and look after your sick children, sick parents, whatever it was.
It feels like a restriction at the time.
Yes. Or you go and you break your foot and you've got to be sitting there in a chair with you for 6 weeks with your foot elevated. That sort of thing is going to be a Saturn where it's stopping you in your tracks.
Totally.
With your big plans that you have with Jupiter, your great ideas you want to go and do. Yeah. And Saturn says, we're going to take a break.
Yeah,
we're going to pause.
I think it's really good to look at those two kind of in tandem.
Yes, it's
where
interesting.
Where do I want to expand, and what is going to be holding me back, and how can I play them off each other?
Yeah, because they say, right, that Jupiter builds bridges, but Saturn builds walls. Yeah. So what are you building? Are you building a bridge, or are you building a wall?
Right.
And
Uranus breaks down the walls and Pluto burns the bridges.
Yeah. So technically, I've only really gone up to these 7 visible planets in this idea, what I'm talking about, of this astrological review. Yeah. So just on a side note, this year I've had Saturn transiting through my 9th house, and will continue into next year. And this is the house of adult education.
Yeah.
And this year I have taken classes at my local university on learning Arabic. I have spoken about this previously.
Yeah.
This is not easy. I'm going to have to go back and, dare I say, redo that because it was complicated.
Yeah.
I have struggled to grasp the alphabet there. And before I knew it, the teacher was way down the road and I couldn't keep up with her. And so I'm probably going to revisit that again next year. But I've spent a lot of time in investing in books and that, trying to learn this new language at my age. And why not? If I'm going to learn one language, it's going to be this, because I've made the commitment now.
Yeah.
But I did feel that I did that. I'm also taking extra courses at a college in London, England, on another complicated subject that I don't want to mention on the podcast, but it is consuming a lot of my time, and I'm having to do monster research and do monster writing and papers and prepare things and attend classes and sit in with a group of people. And it's like, and I'm sitting there on some days thinking, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But I feel driven to build my 9th house education.
Yeah. Wow.
And that is Saturn. I think if it had been any other planet, it would have been a lot easier. But Saturn is making me pitch up for the class because I'm thinking, I don't fancy being at that class this time.
Yeah.
And, there's like 10 classes in each term, and you can miss 2. And I'm thinking, shall I miss that? I can't afford to miss the class.
Yeah.
Much as I would like to. And I make sure I sit there, I've got my notes. And all I keep doing is writing more notes because it's complicated. It's not coming easily.
Right.
And I'm having to stretch myself. And even my kids have said to me, but Mom, why are you doing this? I'm saying, well, your mother too is moving forward on
getting her PhD. She's in
adult education.
It's incredibly arduous and challenging.
At an age that
in her 70s.
In her 70s. So it's huge. And some transits drive you to do this. I have not taken so much on study-wise. I can't even imagine the last time I did this. It was probably when I started learning astrology 30 years ago, which is probably when the last time Saturn was there. Right. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh my gosh.
But it has been, and still is ongoingly, a challenge for me to read the books, make the notes, understand what's being processed, and writing the reports and communicating in the class and doing these. You've got to do these joint adventures with people you don't even know. So
wow.
And that is that's Saturn, transiting Saturn going through the 9th, and it's still there, and it'll still be there going into next year. But we keep just pushing on, Arwynne. We keep pushing on.
Yes, we do. Yep.
Okay, so we have been looking at, as an aspiring astrologer, a personal business review for 2025. I'm suggesting some things you want to be looking at. We're talking about the people in your life. We're talking about how you're doing financially. And we've also spoken about how the planets influence what you've been doing this year. And even though you might have started off in January thinking you're going to be doing X, Y, Z, and you ended up being doing A, B, C because of the way the astrology has fallen this year.
Yeah.
So Arwynne and I have also shared a few of our experiences with the transits that we've been living under and still are, and how they have expressed themselves unexpectedly sometimes, and things have cropped up that we hadn't anticipated back in January.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that is always the interesting thing, that no matter who you are, the transits particularly will always affect your chart. Yeah. And definitely the heavy hitters are going to make their presence felt. Yeah. And sometimes it does catch you unaware.
Yeah. It's always really interesting to look back over the year. And I always do a little year in review. I call it my list of lists.
Yes.
It'll be published on my site in December. And it's, it's a lighthearted thing. It's just a list of, the best movies I saw, the best podcasts.
Oh, I see.
My favorite books I read, and, just kind of a little, bunch of recommendations basically.
But of what you did.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great chronicle of like, what did I absorb from the world that affected me,
Yeah. Back in 2025, when we look back, we can just say, what were we watching on TV?
Yeah. And of course, I've had a blog since the early 2000s. So I can look back on every year and be like, what was I doing in 2010 that affected me? What was,
Yes. Yes.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. It's always interesting to do a reflection, and sometimes we just don't do it. But if you do it as an aspiring astrologer with a micro practice, it's a good thing to do.
Yes.
And in a future episode, we're going to be talking about looking forward to the next year. So that'll be something to look forward to. Yeah. So if you have found value in this episode, please do consider sharing it with anybody who'd be interested. Make sure you're getting our newsletter, and you can sign up at starzology.com/newsletter. Additionally, make sure you're getting Arwynne's newsletter, and you can find Arwynne I'm
at mspink.net. That's mspink.net. And I blog about goddesses and art and popular culture and personal stories I send out my newsletter every Saturday.
Fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah.
So to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. We totally appreciate you, and we hope that you enjoy doing your own business review.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks so much for getting this far through the episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the two main options of my astrology services. So the first one is coaching. If you are an aspiring astrologer, and by that I mean someone who's perhaps a hobbyist astrologer, or someone who's learning astrology, or a student, or you've got a few books and you've been doing it for a while, but perhaps you need a little bit of help to bring it all together, then maybe getting some astrological coaching from me would be the answer for you. The astrology coaching I offer is a 1-hour session on Zoom, and it's tailored to answer your particular questions. For example, if you have issues with natal chart readings, we can go there. Or if you're having problems working with your forecasting, we can go there. Or even basic astrology stuff, or even getting yourself organized for your astrology business. The idea is that astrological coaching will answer your particular questions. It's tailored specifically to you and where you are in your astrological journey. And I'm happy to help you out with some guidance about how you can get going, what to focus on, and what to dismiss. So that would be the astrological coaching for people trying to learn astrology. The second astrological service I offer is consultations. So this is for someone who perhaps doesn't know anything about astrology, but they just want to have their chart read or get their chart done. Call it what you will. So once more, this is a 1-hour consultation over Zoom. I will interpret your chart, tell you about the main features, tell you about where the energy is flowing, and all the rest of what is entailed in a thorough natal chart interpretation. I can also add in some forecasting in there too, bearing in mind we only have 1 hour. So just in summary, I've got coaching for people who want to learn astrology, and I've got consultations for those who want to get an astrology reading done. I'm Alison Price from Starzology.com. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.